I think the grace of Heavenly Mother, compassion of Maitreya Buddha and Jigong Buddha, virtue of Patriarch, Shizun Simu, and also Grandmaster and Senior Masterly and Junior Masterly for allowing me to host this session. I welcome your attendance here. So I just want to give you an overview of this two first, which is the first two on the list. 镇殿元帅 and 镇殿将军, Guardian Marshal and Guardian General. The general picture is that they are brotherhood. One is older and the other one is younger. And because the name sounds so similar, I want to introduce you the etymology so that you have this in mind. Okay, first of all, 镇殿元帅, 镇殿将军. I make the 元帅, yuán, this character. So let's study the etymology here. On the top two line here, it represents the foremost, the most important one. It represents upper or top. And in the bottom, it represents a person. So what is on top of a person? That means it's somebody, it's very, very important, right? So in Chinese, we use this word as the beginning of the new year, the head of the country. So yuán, it's something, it's foremost, very important, primary. So what does 镇殿元帅 mean? What does 元帅 mean? 元帅 means commander-in-chief. In a country, there could be only one commander-in-chief, and there can be many general. That is the 镇殿将军. Remember, we have this 镇殿元帅. So here's 元帅 and 将军. So there can be one 元帅 and many jiāng. So in other words, there can be one commander-in-chief and many general. In our U.S. perspective, our previous 元帅 or commander-in-chief, what I have on the right is the Eisenhower 34th president, or somebody very important like the Douglas MacArthur. And right now, our commander-in-chief is President Joe Biden, and the previous one was Donald Trump. That's a little perspective on the concept of 元帅. So 元帅 is the commander-in-chief. So when we look at this word 元帅, this means it's the older brother, so that you don't get confused. So the older brother's picture is on the left. His name is Guardian Marshal. This is just translation. The picture on the right is 镇殿将军. So again, his name is General, because both of these brother have affinity with Jigong, because both of them, they were his child. And Jigong being the father, so sometimes when they come in the channeling session, they often call Jigong Buddha as their father. And to be honest with you, I look at these two pictures. I cannot tell the difference because on the picture on the right, he's holding the sword on the sword is on his upper body. But the picture on the left, the sword is in position on the ground in the lower body. So I look at them, they are almost like twins, and I couldn't tell the difference.
Is one sword on one side and the other one on the other side?
Yeah, it looks like 镇殿元帅 sword is on the left side, on his left leg, and 镇殿将军 sword is on his right arm.
I wonder, from the Dao De Jing, it says the gentleman chooses the left in times of peace and the right when going to war.
Oh, that could be. Look at 镇殿元帅. He is position his sword with his palm, so that means he's under control. And then the one on the right, 镇殿将军, he's holding the sword. That means he's ready to fight. In terms of a commander-in-chief, he's just analyzing the position, but he's not literally going to the war himself. But he have the jiāng, the general, to battle in the field. This is just my interpretation. I don't know if it's correct or not. So you can think of your own version. Okay, so just keep in mind they are broader relationship. Now I want to talk to you about how are they related to our Sizhun and Jigong Buddha? So as we know, in a lot of I-Kuan Dao temple, we have this picture of Sizhun and Simu. But in front of the Sizhun's picture, there's always Jigong Buddha. So how are they related? Well, they are related by spirit. It's just that Jigong Buddha is a spiritual being we all know. So in one life, he reincarnated as Zhang Tianran. So Jigong Buddha is Zhang Tianran, is our Sizhun, or we can say that Sizhun is Jigong Buddha. And we see a lot of this happen for Guanyin too. Guanyin manifests into a human being. Most likely, most of the time it's a girl figure, female figure. So we see this a lot. So keep in mind, Jigong Buddha is our Sizhun. So during Sizhun's time, his time is 1889 to 1947. We also call him the 64th patriarch. He lived for 59 years. So he has 4 children. The first one is the daughter. Zhu Shuzhen is the wife. So while Zhu Shuzhen was delivering the child, the daughter, she passed away. In the Chinese culture, in the old time, if the wife passed away, usually the men will hurry to find another woman because their parents will force them to find another person to get married. So he just followed his parents' advice. So he married Liu Shuai. He cannot take care of the daughter. Therefore, it becomes logical for him to marry another person. Another wife that he finds is Liu Shuai. So Liu Shuai gave birth to 3 sons. One is Mao Meng. Second one is Mao Tian. The third one is Mao Ming. So Mao Meng is the Zhendian Yuan Shuai in this case. He's the oldest son. And Mao Tian, the second son, is the Zhendian Jiāng. Sizhun has 3 sons and 1 daughter, and he has 2 wives. The first one died of the childbirth, so then he have to marry another one. But then you say, well, what about Simu? Because Simu is another one. So how does Simu come into place? Because Simu have to, she had an involuntary union with Sizhun. It was involuntary. But Sizhun and Simu, they never sleep together. They just have a paper marriage, but once they get married, they never stay in the same household. He go his way, she go her own way, because this union was involuntary. Then the union was directed by the Heavenly Mother that they have to get married. In fact, Simu does not want to marry this man, and this man does not want to marry her because she does not want to marry to this man. She was a virgin. Can you imagine? She was a virgin and this man already had 4 kids. Why would she want to marry him? And then back then, she was already a Dao sister, or she took pure vegetarian vow already. And we can say that she's a Tanzu. She just want to devote herself, travel to spread Dao. She doesn't want to settle. She wants to spread Dao. That's her holy mission. So in her mind, I don't want to marry to this man. He already have 2 wives, 4 kids. How can I marry this man? So Zhendian Yuanshuai and Zhendian Jiāng was Sizhun's son. They were not Simu's child. Simu did not give birth to Zhendian Yuanshuai or Zhendian Jiāng. So that's a discussion for their one life. Now, here's another life where they are older son and the younger son. Giacomo, you can help us to read the one on the left, please.
Emperor Gaozu of Tang, named Li Yuan, the founding emperor of the Tang dynasty of China, reigning from 618 to 626. Born the 7th of April 566 AD, Chang'an, died the 25th of June 635 AD, Chang'an, had 22 sons and 19 daughters. He is the incarnation of Jigong Buddha.
Yes, thank you, Giacomo. So it's very normal for an emperor to have a lot of concubines. So this emperor has 22 sons and 19 daughters. And this emperor is incarnation of Jigong Buddha. So here we can see that there's the Jigong Buddha playing the father role, and these two sons playing the children's role. So 镇殿元帅 is the older son. And 镇殿将军, I believe 镇殿将军 is the number 8 son for Emperor Tang Gaozu. So 镇殿元帅, at one time, and then here's another lifetime. 镇殿元帅, at one time he was a monk. His name is Wu Can. At that time, I don't know, I don't have the year for it, but in this lifetime, he impersonated Jigong Buddha to help the poor and the sick. Basically, he played the Robin Hood role in the Song Dynasty. And later on, when Jigong Buddha find out about him, Jigong Buddha accept him as his disciple. Okay, so we just complete the sharing on the 镇殿元帅 and 镇殿将军. Now we will go to the next one. The next one is 教化菩萨. So 教化菩萨 was a real person. Let's see. Giacomo, you can read us the whole thing. Thank you.
He Yunting lived in Shantung province. Father name He Xian. Mother last name was Sun. She is compassionate in heart. She felt she is a daughter of heaven and wants to help people to relieve suffering. She often traveled to remote mountain and wilderness to collect herbs to help people treat their illness. Later, she passed away due to a severe cold at a young age.
Thank you, Giacomo Tienshin. So her name was He Yunting. So this is a real person, He Yunting, and she was born from her father and her mother. And when we look at her compassionate in heart, isn't this like all of us, we want to help people relieve suffering? When I read her story, it's very much like reading a story about Guardian Bodhisattva. So who did she marry to? Giacomo Tienshin, please.
She was smart, young, and beautiful. At age 17, because she was very beautiful, many young men came to propose to her, but she declined them all. She often said, "I'm married to Tao." She remained single.
Yeah, she remains single, and yeah, people say, "Why don't you get married? Why don't you get married?" She said, "I already married to Tao," and she remained single for the rest of her life, although she died at a young age. So, and I'm sure that Giacomo Tienshin, this story might touch your heart because she's like you, being single too. Let's see. Oh, and also I want to stress on this. She felt that she is the daughter of heaven. So that's how she feel. But I hope that we all feel the same way too. I'm also the daughter of God, daughter of heaven too. Robert is the son of heaven. Giacomo is the son of God, son of heaven, and so is Mark. So not just her, not just Jesus is the son of God. We are all son and daughter of God. So I want you to have that in mind. And Giacomo Tienshin, please.
How did she receive Tao? During the Sizun and Simu time, they have the ability to elevate beings from the spiritual realm. There was period of famine. Simu vowed that if there is any deity could save the people from famine and help to propagate Tao, then Simu will help the deity to receive Tao. At this time, He Yunting heard Simu's wish and made the promises to assist in spread Tao and to help the people from suffering. He Yunting was the first female deity receiving Tao in the spiritual realm.
Thank you, thank you. So what does it mean by during Sizun Simu's time? So Sizun Simu's time was like 1889, maybe 200 years ago. They have the ability to bring the spiritual being from the spiritual realm to a upper level. So maybe this picture will help. So this is the spiritual realm, and here is the physical realm. So this is where we are. Can you hear? Can you see my mouse move?
Yes.
Okay, so we are in the spiritual realm. So this is the spiritual realm. So you say, wait a minute, what's wrong with the spiritual realm? It's already better than the physical realm, right? So spiritual realm, it's considered spiritual realm, but after they reside there for 500 years, they need to come back here. And then if you do good, you can go back to the spiritual realm to enjoy your life. But then after that, you still have to come back here. Unless you find a way, then you can travel with this two arrow. Otherwise, it's just back and forth, back and forth. And of course, if you don't do good enough, if you haven't awakened so much, you will continue to stay in the physical realm. And that's where we are now. So spiritual realm, definitely the life is much better, but eventually somebody have to come in here. So this is talking about He Yunting. She was already in a spiritual realm, but she still need to come back to the physical realm. So during Sizun Simu's time, they have the ability to elevate the spirit from the spiritual realm to the higher realm. So this is what I mean by during Sizun Simu's time, they have the ability to elevate being from the spiritual realm to a higher realm. And the higher realm is not heaven. It's just towards the north. There's many levels. There's many levels. He Yunting was in the spiritual realm. So Sizun Simu helped her to elevate to a higher realm. And I don't know which one is it. It could be Tushida heaven, or it could be this orange arrow here. So He Yunting was the first female deity. Of course, we know that deity does not have male or female, but we refer her as female because while she was alive, she is female. So she was the first female received Tao in the spiritual realm under Simu's help. And Giacomo can help to read the next one. And Mark, you can put your hand down. Go ahead, Giacomo.
How was the name教化 菩薩 bestowed? He Yunting was residing in the spiritual realm. She was the first female being elevated from the spiritual realm by Simu. After she got elevated, she relieved people's suffering and illness and manifested herself to build faith among people. Because of her meritorious service in helping the Tao, Lao Mu granted her the title of Jiāhua菩薩.
Yeah, so in this section, it talks about after she got elevated by Simu, and of course, Simu say, if you can help me to propagate Tao, I can help you to elevate to a higher realm. So after He Yunting got elevated, she do a lot of things to build people's faith, because nowadays, a lot of time, people need to see miracle. If they don't see miracle, there's no faith. So basically, she was there to strengthen people's faith. How? Maybe there's a girl asking God, if you can help my mom to cure my mom, then I will devote myself and I will build my faith. And then after she said that, He Yunting helped her mom to get better. So she performed this kind of miracle. So during that time, Tao was widespread, and because of that reason. And we can see that Jesus also did the same thing too, to build up people's faith, and during his time. And therefore, because she helped so many people to build their faith in Tao, and these people in terms to they also continue their Tao propagation, and that's why Tao become widespread. And therefore, Lao Mu grant her a title, 教化菩萨. So English translation is Bodhisattva of Knowledge, or Bodhisattva of inspiration. Knowledge is not a good translation. It should be inspiration. Okay, so the next one. The next one is 各位大仙. Okay, so it's this one, this middle one here. Okay. So 各位大仙, in Taoism term, 大仙 is considered immortal. So immortal is equivalent to Buddha, equivalent to Bodhisattva. So when we say all great sages, we are talking about the sages who is already in the place higher than the spiritual realm, and they are immortal. They have already reached perfection. So that's why we bow to them 3 times. It's the immortal. They are the immortal who have lived on earth to set a role model for good moral and ethical behavior for the people. In the Taoism term, which is equivalent to Bodhisattva. On the right, you can see the 8 immortals crossing the sea. So these are all their names. So when we first look at this He Xiangu, we might mistaken her as Bodhisattva, not Bodhisattva of inspiration or Bodhisattva of knowledge. I think in previous time, Giacomo Tienshin asked me if 教化菩萨 is the same as 和仙姑. I think I told him the wrong answer. And the correct answer is they are different individual beings. So we will not go into here. So after the class here, I can share with you the slide in a group. So the 8 immortal, they all have their appearance. They all have their names. But I do want to point out to you that Lü Dongbing, this person, we talked about it in our previous class. So Lü Dongbing has a teacher. His name is Zhonghan Li. So the 8 immortals crossing the sea, they represent different entities. We are going to go to Dao Zhang. Who is Dao Zhang? Basically, Dao Zhang is Great Master. So Dao Zhang, it's the title we use in the old time. Just like in China, right now, who is the president in China? We call him Xi Jinping. We call him president. But in the old time, we would call somebody in charge of the nation, we call that person emperor. In Europe, in some dynasty, I think in Western term called king, right? So king and the queen. I mean, in UK, they still call the queen and the king. But so just to give you an idea, Dao Zhang is the term that they use in the old time. And Qián Ren is the term that we use in modern time. Okay, so I want to talk about Diàn chuán sư. So we all know who is Diàn chuán sư. Diàn chuán sư is the person who give us the Tao blessing. So how is Diàn chuán sư relationship with Qián Ren? So in each group, it can only have 1 Qián Ren and have many, many masters. So here is just a diagram to show you that master is under Qián Ren. So in Bao Guang Jiande's line, we have 200 plus Tao master. And of course, Mark in Boston, you have your Qián Ren and your master because we are in a different line. And why different line? Why different line? Because after Simu, Simu, let's put it this way. Simu has 18 disciples. That's why there's 18 lines. So Mark's line is different than our line. My line. My line is the Baoguang line. Mark's line is the Xingyi line. And Giacomo is also the Xingyi line too.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Fayi line. I said it wrong. The Fayi line.
Fayi Chunde line.
Yeah,
Fayi
Fayi Chunde
Chunde.
line. Yeah, and I think Mark is the Fayi line, but I don't know what division he is in. But it's okay. Probably he doesn't know.
Joanna, do all the lines kind of agree with each other, or are there disagreements, or?
They kind of agree with each other. They kind of agree with each other. We cannot have 100% of agreement because we are all human. But I think Giacomo Tienshin can tell us that, I mean, he can witness that when he go to Rome, when he perform the ritual, he saying the ritual is very similar to the ritual that we perform in Tienshin Temple. Giacomo Tienshin, can you give a percentage? Is it 99% close or 90% close or 50%?
Maybe 97% close.
Is there like a voting process with these 18 lines, or, you know, where they all vote on something, or?
No, we don't.
No. There's no voting. So between each line, people can wear a different uniform. Like in Tienshin Temple, our uniform is more loose. The one in Boston, they are very strict. They are required to wear certain things. So
suit and tie.
Suit and tie, yeah. Suit
Yeah.
and tie. So what do you do in the summer?
Sweat.
Really? And then there's air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
And then
Not
what do
enough.
they require the men? Does the men need to shave?
I don't know. I don't really shave.
Yeah. So I
think, you know what, actually, I do remember in the level 1 class there was something about appearance and stuff like that, and I don't really shave. I trim, but I don't like take a razor to my face. I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I believe that. Thank you for sharing with us your shaving habit. And then I remember your master wear gray gown. Our master wear white gown.
When I went to the full moon about a month ago, I was in the fruit offering ceremony, and we all wear gray gowns as well.
Oh, you have a gray gown too?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
It's very tricky trying to step away from the kneeling box with that, because if you step, I feel like I'm going to step on it and go down.
So the gray gown is yours, or you rent it, or you borrow it?
No, they keep a whole bunch of them on a rack in different sizes in the back room of the temple. And
I think you wear double X, right? Because you are
I'm the biggest gown there is snug on me. It's pretty tight on the old shoulders.
Oh, so nobody can wear your gown except you. That's good.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, now we will proceed. So I want to talk about the etymology. So 前人, what is 前人? 前人means of course it's our great master, and this person is in the forefront. It's like our leader. So let's look at this picture. So there's a foot, and then there's a boat. So the boat, later on, it becomes the shape of moon. And this foot later become this part. And you see there's 2 lines of river here. You see the river? So what can we make up of this diagram here? So it's somebody well, I don't want to say somebody. It's a position. Position. It's a vehicle that carry a human foot by the water. That is called Qián. So this raft or this boat is in front of us. So in other words, Qián is our leader. So we call him the Grand Master. Now here's another interesting one. I want to talk about Diàn chuán sư. So Diàn, what is Diàn? So if we dissect the Chinese into two sections, on the right and on the left. The one on the left, this part, it means black. So black, you can see that it's black.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, yes. So this part, it means darkness without light. And you can see the pictogram and how it evolved. And on the right, this character means prediction. The one in the bottom is mouth. So if we can put the whole thing together, it means that in the darkness, somebody or something is pointed at you, or pointed to something using the mouth, like directing you so that you can get out of the darkness, right? Giving you some kind of point, some kind of direction, maybe marking with fire, and so that we can be awakened. In Chinese, if you know Chinese, Tienshin means dessert. So in the Cantonese restaurant, the Chinese people like to have dim sum. So that's Tienshin. So having that dessert or the dim sum will wake you up in the morning. Have you ever go to dim sum? So dim sum is this character here. And so it's having that breakfast will wake you up to help you to wake up in the morning. And then this character chuán is also very interesting too. So on this picture here, you see a person, and then you also see a hand holding something, right? On this picture here. So on the right, you see that this character. On the left, there's a person here, and this one is the vehicle, 车, and this one is the hand. So somebody, there's a person here, right? Then deliver something, and then that something must carry on with some kind of vehicle, and that carry on is with hands. So can you imagine what's the meaning behind the character of Diàn chuán? This character Diàn and chuán.
So is the vehicle the body? The body?
It can be in a vehicle. Vehicle. Yeah, you can think about the vehicle is a body. Can be a tool. Could be a sutra. Could be a message. Could be a letter. Could be anything. Like sometimes, say, one generation want to, or maybe a torch. Like a mother want to bestow a child some kind of gift, like a jewelry. So that can be a vehicle. It's something to pass on. It can be anything. So in this case, Diàn chuán sư is want to pass us on something. It's the Dao that Diàn chuán sư want to pass on to us so that we can continue that Dao inside of us. Next one is 引导师. So 引导师 basically is two persons. One is the introducer, the other one is the guarantor. Let's look at 引师. So 引导师it's a short term for 引师and 保师. So 引师, you can see that On the left, it's almost like a road because it's curly, right? And on the right is serve as a direction. So 隐师 it's somebody who guides you to Dao. Somebody who guides you to Dao. And then 宝师, I find this character very interesting. 宝师 is the guarantor. It's somebody who guarantees that this person is a good person, and once this person receives Dao, he or she will hold the Dao faithfully, sincerely, with integrity. So you can see that Bao is a mother holding a child. Can you see this picture here? Isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. That was 引宝师, 自己祖先. So what's so special about our I-Kuan Dao ritual is that we also make one bow to our ancestor. So every time when we go through the ritual, we make one bow to our ancestor because it's very precious. So when we receive Dao, who will benefit? Our own family line, and that family line is 7 level of ancestor will benefit. 7 before us is our father, our grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, all the way to the top. When we receive Dao, our 7 level of ancestor will benefit. And then our 9 level of descendant will benefit. That include, let's look at down below, our son, grandson, great-grandson, great-great-grandson. So what happened if we become like Bodhisattva? What happened if we become like Guanyin? Is it possible? It is possible because we are all like little Buddha. We are all little angel, right? So we are just in the angel camp or the Buddha camp. Eventually, we will reach that level. And when we reach that level, it's called the full enlightenment. So right now we have some enlightenment. That means sometimes we are sleeping and sometimes we are awake. Sometimes we are sleeping, and most of the time we are sleeping. And when I say we are sleeping, I mean that we are having the ego taking over us, and that's when our higher self or inner self is sleeping. But when we are awake, that means we understand our higher consciousness and we have our true self to guide us. But sometimes we are just sleeping and sometimes we are awaking, sometimes sleeping, sometimes awaking. But when we reach the full enlightenment, that means we no longer sleep anymore. We have that full enlightenment. And when that time comes, our 7 level of ancestor and 9 level of descendants will all elevate because of us. Isn't that beautiful? So we do have a lot of responsibility, right? Are you going to depend whether you will get elevated or not, and from your son or your kids, from your kids or from your daughter or the son? Can you say, hey, Matthew is my son. Hey, Matthew, I'm going to depend on you, okay? Once you receive Dao, you are going to be fully awake, and I'm going to rely on you, and I'm going to wait for your full enlightenment. How does that work? That will not work, right? So do not rely on anybody. Just everything is on our own hand. We have to do the best we can. So because the power of destiny holds in our hand, right? So in our session today, we talk about the Commander-in-Chief, the Guardian Marshal, and the Guardian General, Bodhisattva of Knowledge or Bodhisattva of Inspiration. We also talk about the great sage. In this case, the sage is considered the great immortal in the Taoist term. And also when talk about Dao Zhang, Dao Zhang is the old term that they call Dao Zhang, but in the modern time is equivalent to Great Master. So we talk about the etymology of Qián, and we all talk about the etymology of Diǎn and Yin Bao Shi. And we also talk about 自己祖先. So I have concluded my session. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya, Jigong Buddha, Patriarchs, Sijun Simu, Grand Master, and Senior Master and Junior Master. And I thank you for your attendance. Thank you so much.